Turn the lights back on. Wow. Retro electro tech. When real audio ruled the world.
Greetings once again, ladies and gentlemen. This is Retro Ernest of Retro Electro Tech, your vintage audio host with the most. And what I have on the bench here is a Realistic SCT as in Sierra Charlie Tango 24a as in Alpha stereo cassette deck. Now, this is primarily a customer update video, but as I always say, there's those of you who like to follow along on this channel, so by all means, strap on in and come along for the ride. You might be saying, well, it looks like you're pretty deep into it already, for an evaluation anyways. And yes, I had to break into the mechanism to examine what was truly going on so that I can advise the customer as to what she's going to be in for to get this thing working the way it should be working. So unfortunately, the young lady who brought this in purchased this unit from a website. I'm not going to mention the name of the site, with the understanding that I believe from what she said that they claimed it was restored or refurbished or serviced. I don't know to what extent. I don't remember now, but that wasn't the case. And I'm going to point out some of my findings and go into why this isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing. Her primary complaint was that this unit is eating tapes. And I did in fact confirm that it is eating tapes. Obviously I keep some sacrificial tapes here in the shop that are devoted to destruction, such as this tape here. But of course, when I'm testing to see if a mechanism is going to eat a tape, I don't sit there and let it overeat and indulge itself and let it pull out all kinds of tape from the supply side and get it all tangled up in there and all that. Of course not. I just want to see if it's starting to eat a tape or try to eat a tape. So anyways, I'm going to explain what's going on here and why it's doing that in this case and what needs to be done. What's going on is when you insert a tape, okay, I don't know if you can really see. Okay, so you see down in this hole here, you see the little shaft kind of coming in, going out, and coming in and out there. Okay, let me remove the cassette. That's the capstan shaft there, okay? And what goes on is you notice the tape inside the cassette there. So what happens is when that tape is placed in position, you can see the shaft of the capstan in there. You see the pinch roller here. When the pinch roller lifts, it does just that. It pinches the tape between the capstan shaft and itself, okay? And that's what pulls the cassette tape through the tape path. Unlike what some people think, they think that the take-up side of the equation here, the take-up reel, is what rotates and is pulling the tape through. That's not the case. It's the pinch roller against the capstan there that is pulling the tape through and pulling it from the supply side of the cassette, via this supply reel here, okay, during the playback cycle of things. So in this case, what needs to happen for the take-up reel or spool here to take up, just like its name implies, to take up the slack tape as it's being pulled across, pulled through the tape path via the pinch roller and the capstan. Okay, that. It's going to keep falling out because it's tilted, of course, and I don't have the friction washer in place that holds it in place there, so it is what it is. So anyways, the take-up reel here has to take up that tape being pulled through the tape path. So in order to achieve that, part of that function involves this idler wheel here, idler tire, okay, and that, let me get that in place if I can see around the camera. Let me kind of get situated here. It's hard to work around the camera, so okay, so there you go. So what happens is when you hit play, you'll notice, watch the position of the tire moving that way. Okay. Okay, so you see it pulled in. Now, there's a, you may not be able to see it real good, but down in here there's a well that this idler tire drops down into when it pulls forward, or whatever, to the left, or you can call it forward, I guess, but to the left here. When the idler tire is pulled to the left, it needs to drop into this well, okay, and engage with the capstan here. And in turn, because the capstan is rotating, it rotates this tire, okay, idler tire, which in turn runs along this track here on the take-up reel, okay? And in turn, the take-up reel is rotating to take up the tape that is being pulled through the tape path. So what's happening here, and let me just go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and remove the tire because it needs to be replaced, is where I'm going with all this. Let me coax it on out of here. There we go. Alright, set that off to the side. So what happened here with this tire, what I discovered is the rubber, pretty much a lot of it has kind of worn away and sort of was stripped away, I guess. I found a lot of the tire residue, the rubber, in this well in here, okay? I mean, there was that black goo all over the place. In fact, let me go ahead and all this black goo, and you could see it on the cotton swabs that I was cleaning out of that well. The tire is doesn't have enough material on it, rubber material anymore, to properly engage. Say my finger is that, or better yet, here the capstan hasn't fallen back out, so we'll just use that. So that tire has to make contact, of course, down in that well. It has to make contact, and in turn it's rotated and contacts, like I said, the take-up spool here, and you know, rotates it. Okay, so you got that. So again, too much material has been stripped off this. And one thing I had wondered about originally is, well, is there still enough material where it should be making contact, but perhaps this you know, lever here, when I press play, notice how that lever is pulled again to the left. You can see it, okay? Now I thought, well, is it just not engaging enough, therefore the tire is not dropping down in there as far as it should, and and in turn engaging with the capstan. But if you notice here, and I'm going to go ahead and rotate the mechanism around. Okay, so here we are around the back. Now let me remove this flywheel and capstan here. Okay, so I was wondering about that lever that the idler tire is mounted to, and I thought, well, is it engaging far enough over, or is it getting hung up on something? But if you notice here, and let me zoom in, this is part of that lever here, okay, and it slides, now since we're looking at the backside, now it slides over to the right. When we're looking at the front, it's left, okay. So, but anyways, it should slide, you see it right there, okay, and here's the little track here. That's part of the metal chassis, the track, that this wheel here that makes up that lever. There's kind of a little wheel here that slides in this track and brings that lever over, and of course the idler tire is mounted on the other side. So it should come all the way to the end of this track here. So keep an eye on this plastic section here and this track, and I'm going to hit the play button again. So let me make sure I'm in frame. Okay, this is hard to do with the camera in the way. So you can see it slides all the way over. Okay, you saw that, right? Now let me drop it back out. Let's go ahead and do it again. And you can see, boom, it slides all the way over. So I had to examine that function to be sure that the let me spin this back around and then zoom out again. Or actually, I'll just leave that there. So again, when I hit play there, let me make sure, yep. Okay, I'm good, I'm in frame. So that moved over to the left, and you saw it on the back side. It is moving all the way across its normal range of travel. Okay, and that's what I had to be sure of, that there wasn't anything that it was getting hung up on, and that was the reason why this idler tire wasn't moving over far enough and dropping down into that well there and mating up with the capstan. So the mechanism is not the problem, it is the tire. So we need to go ahead and get that replaced there. So I'm currently working on sourcing the proper size tires. And I say tires because there is the one in the back too. Okay, that's a bit worn down as well. That's responsible for fast forward and rewind, okay? So it pivots back and forth and engages with the, okay, you see it there? So it engages with the different gears here for, you know, fast forward and rewind and all that. So there you go. So there's that. So we need to get those tires replaced. We also need to get the belts. So these belts are not new, and in fact, one of them is overstretched, or maybe it was just the wrong size to begin with. But anyways, it's all, you know, it's all loose and jiggly, kind of like Polynesian hula hips. And then this is not a new belt. It's just best to get new belts. That's the bottom line. Since I'm in here, if the customer decides that she wants to move forward with this, then while I'm in here, we need to get those tires replaced, and we need to get new belts on board. And while I'm in here, I'm going to do some superficial lubrication. I say superficial, and I said that in the last video too. I was working on another, as a matter of fact, it was another Realistic. It was an SCT. I think it was an SCT-30 if I remember. I can't remember now. Everything just kind of merges together after a while. And it was fairly recent too. I said in that one that I was going to do a superficial relubrication, and I ended up having to pull the entire mechanism apart because there was all kinds of problems and all that. Well, this one seems to be doing okay in that regard. I had to clean it up a bit. Actually, the way it looks right now, it was much more dirty in here. You know, even before rolling this footage, I went in here and cleaned up, got some swabs and 99% anhydrous alcohol, started cleaning the tape path, the heads, all that. I was getting dust out, blowing dust out and all that. They did not refurbish this at all, and that was a bunch of malarkey. And anyways, there's little bits of grease hither and thither throughout, but I need to go in here and do a little bit better job where I can access things. I'm not going to pull it apart. There's probably not the budget for this. I'm not sure what she paid for this unit. None of my business, but the work that I need to do in here just to get this going is going to be enough as it is, and I don't even know if I'm going to get the go-ahead on it. We'll see. But anyways, the moral of the story is that I'm going to go through, do a little bit more light cleaning where needed, and apply some appropriate lubricant here and there, and so that by the time I get the new tires on board and whatnot, everything will be nice and clean, ready to go. So that's where we are on this one, and that's where I'm going to leave it. I don't know if there's going to be a part 2, but if there is a part 2, all it's going to entail is me just slapping on the new tires, belts, everything will be lubricated. I'm not going to go into that on this video, and then so it'll be just real quick, and then a final audio test. So that's about it for this one. I'm going to end it here, and as I always say, folks, peace, love, music, and the vintage audio that brings it to your ears. Till next time, y'all take care.
This is a poor man's shoe production.